This podcast series was recorded with our colleague Cameron Cunningham, who at the time was the Addictions and Recovery Program Coordinator at NBA. Although he no longer works with us, we still believe strongly in the content we created, and we hope you enjoy. Welcome back to Holy Scrolls at Vodcast, where faith meets tech. I am Vera Gil Soto.
And I'm Cameron Cunningham, and we are so glad that you are here for this conversation. It is a conversation about social media, young adults, and the ways technology shape our mental health, relationships, and our spiritual lives.
And this podcast is a collaboration between NBA's Addiction and Recovery Initiative and the Young Adult Leadership Development Program.
Yes, and today we are in for a great discussion. I mean, a great discussion. We're diving into exploring performative lives online versus the lives we live with integrity and even real connections. It's this idea of, do I swipe right or do I swipe left or do I swipe real?
Woo! And for that, we have no one better to join us for this conversation than the Reverend Whitney Marie Murphy. She is the founder and lead officiant of the Reverend I Do Officiating, where she has combined her gifts as a preacher, storyteller, and she has officiated more than 150 weddings worldwide.
Wow.
And quite a number of these weddings have been couples who met online. Maybe they
Mhm.
swiped right, maybe they swiped real too. And her commitment to radical inclusion earned her a feature in the Apple TV docuseries Gutsy, where she discussed marriage and love with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. If you're more interested about that, I invite you to watch the series. It's quite a delight to see our very own Reverend Whitney Marie there. So yes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yes, it was hard not to say yes. So I said,
Love
let me
it.
not.
Yes, we're so glad that you are here with us. We got a lot to talk about in just a little bit of time. So if it's all right, let's just go ahead and dive right
Let's
in.
dive in.
Let's do
All
it.
right, all right. So I would like to start a conversation today around this thought because we know authenticity online, it just isn't about showing your unfiltered face, but it's about showing your unfiltered self at times.
Mm.
And, technology has given us the power to present anything pretty much anywhere. So I just want to start this conversation and pose the question, what does authenticity even look like when the screen can change so much? What does it look like on the screen?
Great question. I would say authenticity isn't necessarily the absence of a filter. It's about whether that
Ooh.
filter reveals or conceals a truth.
Okay,
Hmm.
you'll want to rewind this because that was good. That was good.
We ain't even get started yet, but that's it. I mean, it's
The
one of those
absence of
things where AI, social media, and authenticity don't always seem synonymous.
mm,
However, they're tools to tell your story. And so when we look at it that way, I find that that's when we get to decide, are we being our authentic selves? What tool am I using to tell my story and the
mm,
truth that I want to share? And what I mean by that is it depends on the audience.
right.
Because if I am on LinkedIn, I have a very different brand and image and story I want to tell if I'm on versus me being on Tinder. Or because that's a very different audience. I'm trying to capture something different and I'm presenting myself, my story, using that tool in a very different way. So
Wow,
I
you're
think,
making me think of my mama saying, "There's a time and place for everything, Betty."
come on here, come on here. So it's not a blanket thing. It's a matter of how do I want to show up in this
Mm,
space and what truth is safe enough to tell to this
safe enough.
audience.
Yeah, yeah.
Because one of the things about authenticity, folks think it means tell all your business.
Mm,
Authenticity isn't that. It is, how do I get to share myself safely with the audience that I am speaking to, with, and for?
Mm,
And if I don't feel safe, then I'm not showing everything. And so
right.
I find that authenticity sometimes can be this word to poke people to tell their business.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's a means, it could be a means of resistance, of saying, you know what, I'm not going where everyone else goes.
Right.
Or it could be a means of something different. It is, it's the why. Why are
Mm-hmm.
you posting? Why are you filtering? What's the why? I mean,
Maybe.
because I have used filters on my dating app because I had broke out and I had a pimple where one should not have been. And I was like, this ain't what I normally look like. Hold on. And so those are some things where I realized that's what I wanted to show. I wanted to put my best foot forward in this particular photo because I wanted to
Uh,
capture someone who can see me at my best, right? That doesn't mean I'm being inauthentic. It means at that picture, at that time, the person I'm trying to snatch, I want you to see this story that I'm trying to share with you.
so let's stay there a little bit because I was thinking there's a difference. I was really reflecting on what you said. There's with my mom's words, right? Like there's a time and place for
There's a
everything.
time and place for everything.
Right. So we don't share the same thing on LinkedIn that we share it on Tinder or whatever apps are there out there for dating or Facebook or Instagram or whatever, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
me being authentic on Instagram looks very different than me being authentic on a dating app because what I share is different, right?
It
I
can
can
be.
I can still be authentic, but I'm not sharing the same things because I know that the audience, at least in my case for Instagram, is only people that I truly and genuinely know. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have work people in there or church yet,
Mm-hmm.
like people that I've pastored. So it's just my friends.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they have a context about they probably have some context for what I am sharing.
Absolutely. So you and we go way back like four flats, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
If
People don't
you
know that,
showed
but
me,
yes, we do.
yes. If you showed up on your Instagram being very buttoned up and professional in this very like stiff way, I know you being inauthentic on IG. We like,
You-
girl, quit playing.
You're gonna
Girl,
be like, let me do a wellness
I was
check.
like, hold on, let me call her real quick. Girl, what is going on? We know you don't dress like this. I know you're not wearing that to the party.
Clearly, I don't dress like that. You're outing me like that. But so, following that though, how much is too much or too little when we're trying to be authentic to online date? Like I don't like, and this comes from someone honestly that I tried doing it one time, then I got too scared, and this was before my husband, so it's not that I'm trying to date online while married. This was for the record. For
Look, that'd
the
be another
record.
phone call.
There goes Whitney making another wellness check.
Yes.
But so I tried to do it. I tried to do that once, and I was just too anxious about it, and so I just deleted my account and
Mhm.
didn't even do that. So I really don't know, and I don't know if maybe our audience wants to chime in and put on the comments, but how much is too much, or how can I be truly authentic without putting all my business out there?
They're not synonymous. Authenticity is not synonymous to spilling your guts, but
Mm.
it is synonymous to taking a risk.
Oh,
Because,
we've been talking about risks. Keep on.
because that's really what it is. What are we risking putting a picture out there? We're risking
Mm.
critique, we're risking praise, we're risking vulnerability, or it's like there's always a risk when you hit send, there's always a risk when you post.
Yeah.
Somebody would be like, oh, look at her hair, her edges wasn't done. Oh, look at her eyes, like she didn't have her eyeshot. Like all of that is putting yourself out there. Now, the
Yeah.
question is, are you trying to perform on a
Mm.
stage,
Mhm,
or are
mhm.
you trying to share with an audience that is bigger than your coffee shop, that is bigger than your immediate surroundings? And so I'm now trying to have access
Yeah.
because, again, these are tools. I don't
Right.
blame the tools.
Right. And you touched something that I think at our previous, we were talking about this on our previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
That the fact that true community requires inconvenience
Come on now.
and being willing and being willing to be inconvenient, and you saying it takes risks. It's all about the risks. So yeah, that's good. That's good.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna have to
because
rewind this
Oh
a
yes.
couple of times
Oh
because
yes.
I mean, and also performance isn't inherently bad.
hello, yeah,
So
we'll
none
do
of these
that.
things, exactly, none of these things are inherently good, bad, or indifferent. They are
Right.
literal tools, they're
Yeah.
literal contexts. And so I believe it goes down to my why.
Mm.
What is my why? Simon Sinek said it, right? What's
It's
your
all
why? There
yes.
we go. There we go. And so when we get to the root of your why, then we can understand how you can best hold critique or celebration that comes forth with whatever you post.
Yeah.
So it's, how do I want to use this stage? How do I want to use this moment? Because applause in this day and age comes from a like, a comment, a share. How many views do I have? Or how many swipe rights or swipe
Hmm.
reels are coming up on my dating app where I'm like, oh, okay, I was able to swipe and get all of these people. And so again, it just goes back to, why am I posting this? Am I
Mm.
posting this for attention and away from the person that I believe is going to be attracted to me?
Mm.
Or am I posting this for the attention of a job that I believe is going to be attracted to me in these ways?
Mm.
Or am I posting for my friends to know that I'm all right?
Yeah.
Like, what's my why? And once you
Yeah.
sit into your why, then you can navigate whether a filter is needed or necessary, or you get to have fun.
Mm.
I love that. I love that. You just said something there. You just said something there, and I caught it. I hope our listeners didn't miss it, but I
Come
caught
on
it.
now.
Listen, I'm gonna have to listen to this at a point 0.5 speed and
Yes.
rewind it because this is a lot of nuggets in here. Yeah.
Already, and you bring me to something. Even it's interesting that this thought of why, not what.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you name, the filters aren't the problem. The problem is when I feel digital versions of us become more aspirational than they are like real. So when your online presence, it says you have particular values, character, intentions, and you don't practice those values or you don't live into those values, I think that's where there is a threat to, are you your authentic self behind the screen? And I think you named something for our listeners, for young adults, and that is, we oftentimes chase perfection and we think authenticity is perfection, but it's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's not about perfection. It's about posting something that's real, posting
Mm-hmm.
something that is true. And what comes to mind is this show that I grew up watching, Catfish.
Ah,
Oh.
yes.
And this catfish theory, and these individuals would go through this time of chat. This is before Tinder and all of these modern apps now, but sitting on the phone on Facebook, chatting with individuals that are using pictures that are not theirs. And the reality is, what I realize is they just were not deceiving individuals because of their looks. They were actually hiding their humanity. They were hiding who they are. So it does tie back into your point of the why, of the why. So I want to probe another question, and I think this
Come
is
on.
good for our listeners because I think we're at the point to ask the question: how do you know when someone is performing and being authentic online?
You don't.
Yeah, I
Sit
think
with the
it's really
fact that
difficult
you
online.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just sit with the fact that you don't know. That's why that isn't the only factor to connection.
Yes.
My thing is, we've got filters, and then we also have those filters that'll say, hey, I want them in this vicinity. I want them to be this religion. I want them to be this. We're cherry picking through our
That's
filters
right. Yeah.
who we want.
Right. Right.
And so that in itself, I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, we may share interests, but am I risking flattening people into only data points?
Mm.
versus what if somebody was 51 miles versus my 50-mile radius, right?
Mm.
And so, what does it look like to clear the filters of how you're categorizing and look for people? Because even in our search, we're looking for what we deem perfection in others as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because often, a lot of times, we don't even know how to hold authenticity when it's looking
Hello.
at us.
Hey, we run away from it sometimes.
I mean, run to the opposite direction. What you mean you don't have this? Or
Oh,
why you why
it's
this?
too
And
good to be true, right? And we're like,
it's too good to be true. Exactly.
mm-mm.
Exactly. So I find that this is a space where you don't know. I remember talking to someone when I was dating, and they sent me this picture and it had all this like glitter stuff coming out. And I went like that on the picture, thinking I was wiping some away. And I asked them, I said, what is all this?
Mm.
Yeah.
And they were like,
Ooh,
oh, that's the new thing. I said, I can't see your smile because all this stuff is in the way. Can
right.
you resend me a picture? And
Yeah.
so that was when I got to challenge them to say, this is cute for the posting, but I want to know what's behind this filter,
Mm.
these images of like distraction. So don't
Yeah.
distract me. Let me see who
Don't
you are.
distract me. Wow.
And so
Yep.
that's where I find that it's cool to do the filters. It's cool to navigate and play around with these apps, but they will connect you. They will give you access, but they won't teach you how to stay.
Oh, yes.
Ooh. They will give you access, but they will
It'll give
not
you
teach you
access,
how to stay.
but they won't teach you how to stay. And so my thing
Wow.
is, what are you drawing to
Yeah.
you?
Uh-huh.
Okay, now do you want what's drawn to this image you're projecting? Do you want them to stay around?
Mm.
Do you know how to be what you've drawn them into? Or are you so aspirational that all y'all lying?
Mm.
Listen, and this thing about aspirational and inspiration has been coming through. Cameron mentioned something about that. I think it was on our very first episode, if I'm not wrong, Cameron, that uh, social media in and of itself, it's just as we've been saying, nothing is just good or bad. It's just the meaning, the why that we put into
Mhm.
it, right? And something that has just stuck with me is when Cameron said social media can be inspirational at times and also aspirational.
Absolutely.
And I'm like,
Absolutely.
wow. Same for dating, right? Like it's like, what are we showing? What are we letting others to see? The inspiration or the aspiration or both?
Mhm.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with either.
Let me get my pen that I
And
threw.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with either once we know which
Yeah.
one we're doing.
Wow.
Because if I'm being aspirational, I mean, when I started my business, I had pictures that were aspirational of couples that I wanted to marry.
Right.
And then once I was putting that out there, I was receiving those couples because they saw themselves. And
Mm.
so that for me was my brand. That was how I navigated the beginnings of my
Wow.
business. I aspirationally wanted to receive couples that were minority, that were queer, that black and brown, because we needed somebody to hold our love stories very beautifully as well. So
Yeah.
I had some aspirational moments because I didn't have those couples at one point.
Mm.
And then once I started having those ceremonies and weddings and they were coming to me, I learned how to stay with them in this way and I became inspirational
Mm.
because
Wow.
now I've reached what I was aspiring to.
Mm.
And now
Yes.
I'm consistently sustaining it. And so now others are saying, "Oh, that's inspirational. I love that." Well, I'm glad because at one point it wasn't my reality.
Hello.
Mm.
Hey. Wow.
So powerful. I think that this is a great place.
I know.
I
I
think
was like, oh, I gotta hold myself.
yes, I'm like, man, I just need to break this down into chunks and just really sit with this. But I think that this is a great time for us to pause because
Yes.
we're on the bridge of getting into something. I have another follow up for you all. You made me think of something, but before I ask that question, I want to pause for a minute and allow you to hear about what's happening in the life of NBA and most importantly, how you can engage with us. So stay tuned, don't leave, hear what's going on, and we'll be right back.
There's still time to apply for the 1 year Peer Learning and Wellness group for all disciples affiliated Black, Indigenous, and other men of color ages 22 to 30. Participants will experience community, spiritual renewal, and leadership support through online meetings and 2 in-person retreats. Don't miss this opportunity. Applications have been extended through March 8th. For more information about this, visit nbacares.org/bywalk. Speaking of applications, the Mission and Ministry Grants application window is still open through March 25th. These funds support organizational and congregational projects that serve older adults 50 and plus, or focus on educating at-risk youth and young adults ages 10 to 25. For details and frequently asked questions, visit nbacares.org/mm-grants. On March 26th, NBA's Community Engagement Team presents a webinar called From Montgomery to Minneapolis, Organizing in Times of Disruption. For more information about this webinar and to register, visit nbacares.org/events. NBA is celebrating 10 years of peer learning and wellness groups with multiple events later this year, including a virtual 10-year anniversary celebration on April 14th. We invite you to celebrate with us this life-giving journey that has touched hundreds of people. Stay for more information and learn more about this and all of our events at nbacares.org/events.
Welcome back, friends. We're here and we're having a dynamic discussion. I want to jump right back in because we left off at a great place. Whitney Marie, you dropped the jewel right there before we went on our brief break. I want to segue into this. You know, the emergence of dating apps. I think they've existed in the 21st century, but definitely post 2020 COVID, it has been an emergence, and it has really changed the way that we meet people. I remember when I was
Absolutely.
in middle school, or even high school, it was like, oh, I have a crush on somebody and I can't wait to see them at school tomorrow. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta get online, or or I heard
Oh,
about
Cameron,
someone,
you got crush on people in middle school?
you know,
Oh,
or individuals from other schools. It was like, well, I'm gonna
Mhm.
go to their Friday night football game so I can see her
Mhm.
there. It would,
Mhm.
but we see this emergence of how dating apps have truly changed the way that we meet people. And
mhm.
it also has changed what we expect from people, I believe, as well. So I just wanted to
Mm.
pose that because, scripture does say that love is patient, but we live in a swipe culture and that's fast. So I wanted to ask the question,
Wow, that's
are
good.
there any ways that you may say that dating apps have shaped what we expect from relationships in, today's time?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of those things where we curate our profile.
Hmm.
We meticulously answer the questions. We post the very best pictures of our
Right,
good side, right? My hair has got to be retwisted before I post, like all of these things, because I want to put my best foot forward.
right.
However, again, you said it, love is patient and love is muscle messy. Love
Eh?
is slow and it
Mm.
requires a lot
Wow.
of things that folks who are just scrolling through don't want to put in work.
Wow.
And
Hello.
so I may connect with you, but if your questions are, so what are you doing? So what's your favorite color?
What were you up
That
to
ain't the
today?
work I want. No. I mean, I would never
Chat
forget. I
GPT could ask me those questions, or even
listen, and
better.
I don't want to date Chat GPT. I'm trying to connect with you. And so I find that what it also does, it makes us
Mm.
socially awkward in
Oh
my
my
mind.
gosh.
Because I feel like folks don't know how to talk to people anymore. I mean,
We know how to like double like double tap, like
I could get you with
yes,
a
my God,
LOL, a cute emoji, a nice cute sticker.
the
But when
gifts.
someone asks me, what was the last book you read and how did it make you feel?
Well,
That part, that part. Or I know you told me that you like coffee, but what is it about the aroma that makes you just say, I got to get this some more? When was the first sip you had that said this is my drink of choice?
Girl,
right?
this is why you do what you do. You're so good. Like the questions are, yes, it's about the intimacy. It's about
It is
the
about the, see, this is what I tell my couples when they're up there. I said, authenticity is the difference between vows written so that your guests can say
mm,
ooh ah, or vows
mm,
whispered from a trembling lip that is just carrying the weight of your love.
wow.
There's a difference.
Yes.
And I always tell my couples how you plan and navigate your wedding is how you will be married. So
Wow,
if
surreal. Yes.
we doing this quick, efficient, swipe and let's keep it pushing, and it's only for others to ooh ah, then your marriage
Mm,
is going to be for others to ooh ah.
wow.
And that's what you're
Yeah.
gonna keep trying to do. You're gonna keep trying to be relationship goals and actually, instead of actually having the goal be your relationship.
Wow. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
So
social
it,
media, like it's
mhm.
this again. See, I'm turning into my mom because instead of me quoting her, I think I'm just becoming her.
Come on
But
now.
she but she would say that her generation was the simmer pot generation and my generation was the
Mm.
microwave generation.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I think that social media is, I don't know, the air fryer generation, like, is making things
Even quicker.
even quicker and even like apparently better because warming up something in the microwave does not warm it up in the same way because it's so soggy, right? But if I warm it up in the air fryer, it gives me the outside crispiness, but still inside is so soggy. So
That's a word right there, mama.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, I'm gonna rewind this again. Um, but I think that then with social media, I think that that's what is impacting a relationship and not only intimate, like intimate as in romantic relationships, but just intimate relationships with friends,
With
with
friends, yeah.
family, because we don't put the work.
So one of the things I actually started doing was picking up the phone. I actually started FaceTiming. I
Yeah.
actually started trying to create space that I don't get the option to edit, right?
Yeah.
So, or I get the moments of the conversation to go somewhere I didn't plan.
Mm,
And I
mm,
find social media is also a space of control for us too. It's a lot
yeah.
going on in this world. What can I control? Well, I can
Mm,
control what you see about me. I can control what you understand about my story. And so, one of the things that I love about social media and the dating apps also is it can also be a space of armor. It can be
mm,
a space of protection to say, you know what? Again, this audience doesn't get this side of me,
right.
or this audience gets to be dazzled by this side of me.
Yeah.
For my queer couples, right? Well, there's this resurgence of what does tradition look like for something that's not traditional. And so
Yes.
I'm like, look, we get to create and be creative. And I think one of the things that AI is doing, in my opinion, is allowing us to see what can be creative, except
Mm,
it doesn't allow us to be the ones thinking with curiosity and
suppressive. Yeah.
imagination and stretching to be as creative as AI.
Yeah.
And so there are times when I'll be like, okay, AI, how do I get to say this a little cuter because I only get 40 characters, right? There's those moments. But then there's also the moments of, AI is not going to do this phone call for me. So let me
Hey,
pick up the phone and be like, hey, Cameron,
get to the
what's going
heart.
on?
Yeah.
And be able to carry a conversation.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So yeah, that's how I feel. That again, dating apps are not bad. They're great.
Uh,
I've met
Yeah.
incredible people on these apps that I would not have come into contact with in any other
Person,
space.
because your circles do not, collide for some
Exactly.
reason
For
until
some
you put the
reason.
work.
And so it's all of it, all of the above. I think at the end of the day, if you don't feel well about
Mhm.
how your story is going, social media would be like, look, you could change it.
Right.
For kids that go off to college and was like, hey, I was known for this. Now
Hmm.
I'm in a new season. I can be known for that. I mean, if anything, social media and dating apps allow you to recreate yourself in some ways and play around with what it looks like to be out there in that way.
Especially at such an age for young adults that they're really finishing to develop who they are. I mean, it's not that we ever finally do, right? But it's
Hmm.
developmentally, it's not really until like around 25 that we fully embrace a more consolidated version of who we are or who we want to become or really be. And so I think hearing you, I'm like, well, you know what? I hope that actually young adults who are interested in dating, they actually put themselves out there and take the risk to
That again,
figure it
risk.
out. Yeah.
And get it right or wrong, right?
Mhm.
It's one of those things where, again, social media, what we post, we control it. So
Hmm.
we're controlling the narrative about us. And so, what if we said, F it? No, no filter, no nothing. This is what I look like when I wake up. Bam. You know, or this, some people say that's really authentic or that's really brave, or depending on who you are, depends on how that post will be received.
Yeah. Wow.
So how you want to tell your story, Betty? How you want to tell your story, Cameron? And that's really what social media and these dating apps are asking you.
How you want to tell your
How
story?
how do you want to tell your story? There's
Yeah.
no right or wrong answer. And just know that the story you put out, you can't control how people receive it. And I
Mhm.
think that's the danger we get in of trying to be perfect, trying to make us palatable for everybody.
Mm.
And I tell some folks, you just choke on who I am.
Drop the mic then, Whitney, Reverend Whitney Marie.
Let me
Drop
throw
the
my
mic.
pen again.
Wow, wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
And sitting in that, I've
Yeah.
had pictures that I've posted that didn't get the likes that I thought that the outfit deserved.
Right, right.
And
Listen,
I
the
almost
effort.
listen, and I almost deleted it. And I was like, no, you, Whitney, thought this was cute. So you,
Right.
Whitney, are saying,
It's
look
the
at how I
right.
styled my Friday night.
Mhm.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. Cameron, I see you. I see you munching, Cameron. I see you
I
like,
mean, I'm trying to just it's coming at me all full fledged. But for me, and I know we're right at our time. I don't know, I'm just thinking about this. You named some things for me that are important because I appreciate you naming as a young adult that um dating apps are not bad,
mm-hmm,
that we don't have to demonize these
Mm-mm.
platforms.
No.
But I'm grateful that we've named in this space and for our listeners that, that online intimacy is real, but it
Mhm.
also requires, and we talked about this in previous episodes as well, it also requires the need to grow some of those roots offline as well. The
mm-hmm,
FaceTimes, the different
Mhm.
elements like that. Because it's easy to connect and it's easy at times to share deeply online because behind the screen, it feels safe.
mm-hmm.
So we all are behind the screens. It feels safe, but real connection, embodied presence, that is where the real challenge, that's how the real connection happens. So I'm just thinking through that, and I'll just ask us one closing um, question because I know Reverend Whitney Marie, Betty, we've had a great conversation, and Reverend Whitney Marie, we saw in your bio you did over 150 plus, officiating 150 plus weddings, and many of those individuals started their journey of
Online.
love together after
Mhm.
meeting online. And
Mhm.
many individuals will say that's an anomaly because it's curated.
Mm.
So I just want you to speak to how intimacy can be real online. It can be real.
I
Or
think
can
you
it be
said it.
real?
Oh, it's definitely real. You make what so one of the things that when I ask my couples, how did you meet? They
Yeah.
get this sheepish look and they're like,
Or
online. Like, like it was a bad thing. But I'm like, okay, that's beautiful. The algorithm was in your favor that day, where y'all got to slide in the
Ooh.
DMs. You got to cross paths. You got to see that fine brother, that fine sister, that fine them that said, hey, I look good. And I know this is something that will look good for you. So
Yeah.
again, we're talking about access. The thing is, once you are connected,
Yeah.
how do you sustain what drew you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where we get into this intimacy component of FaceTime. I mean, or asking the right questions that can spark someone's imagination. I
Yeah.
mean, that can get somebody thinking or trying a new food. Like, hey, have you ever been to an Indian restaurant before? I was dating someone, and they were like, no. I said, guess what? We're going and I'm ordering, and then we're going to taste it and see a
Right.
new
Come on,
experience
taste and see.
in person. And, and just all of those things of like, how would you want to get to know somebody?
Right.
And do you want to get to know somebody? Because let's keep it real. Everybody on the dating app ain't trying to date. Okay. And so we need to be very intentional
Right. Right.
about the story we tell and
Yes.
our audience of who is listening. And
Yeah.
it's okay to say, you know what, from where our conversation seems to be going, I'm not the swipe you want.
We were supposed to be a swipe left.
Listen, or this should have been a moment that said not everybody on here is on that. So I do believe paths cross for a reason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll give you something that happened actually last night. I took my grandmother to a holiday party, and there was this young man who was sitting next to us, and he was not dressed up.
Right.
And my grandmother said, do you not have anything? And he was like, oh, I do. It's just, she said, you know what? Just do better. Whatever better is. And so if you feel as though you are someone that just needs to do better with holding on to authenticity or
Grandma
holding
can be
on
real.
to intimacy or holding on to yourself in this world of millions, right?
Yeah.
If whatever better looks like for you, you know it in your gut.
Mm.
You know if this is the story or you need to do better and tell a different one.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's how I look at authenticity. What feels good? And what do you feel from the other person? Because someone could be as authentic as they can be, and you just don't jive. And that is all right.
Yeah.
So just because you're authentic doesn't automatically mean there's a connection. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is the assumption that if I'm my authentic self, I am going to be rightfully connected. And it's like there will be some mess in the way,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you get to stay true to your story?
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, even as people of faith, talking about intimacy, right? Without the physicality or without the contact beyond the social media, as people of faith, I mean, I remember hearing my pastor, and I myself, as a pastor, remember telling my folks that Sunday worship should not be the it for the intimate relationship with God, right? So we need to put the effort to try to find what is it that we need in this spiritual relationship with God. So I think it's the same with online
Oh yeah.
dating,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
not just the swipes, it's not just the chat, it's not just the little small talk. It
Mm-hmm.
needs to for us to really ask ourselves, what is it that I need? Just as you were saying, am I really looking for dating or just to fool around and to have a good time and
And
just
there's
be
no
real with
wrong
it?
answer. Just let your story show what it is that
Hello.
you want.
That's right. Yes.
And
Yes.
don't be afraid of what you catch with the bait that you're throwing out there.
Woo. And on that note, because we could keep going on, this was so good. I think I even spit like my God.
Oh
Um,
yes.
I think that this is a good time for us to realize this conversation goes way beyond this 40-30 minute that we've been talking here together. And we hope that we keep this going on. But for now, we want to thank you. Thank you, Reverend Whitney Marie, Reverend I do. Thank you for joining us for this honest conversation about performance, authenticity, and love online. And for everybody, if you all want to connect with Whitney, if you want to know more about her organization, her business, and ways to connect with the Reverend I Do, please visit her website, and her social media are going to be here placed on the comments. Engage with her, engage with us, and yeah.
And if you're engaged, call me.
Ah!
That was good. That was real good. And we also invite you to engage with
Ah,
us in the comments
yes.
or even on social media. I would love to hear from you. We would love to hear from you, your responses to what does authenticity look like you when you're dating online, if you're dating online. So we'd love to hear your stories. We would love to connect with you around our topic today.
Yes, and this, as I said, this has been a wonderful episode. And if this is the first time that you're joining us, this has been a short series. This is episode 5 of a 6 episode mini series. And on our next episode will be the last. So we
Yeah.
hope that you stick with us, and we're gonna talk about the digital detox, where we will
Oof.
talk about how to set boundaries, rediscover identity offline, and embrace silence without fear.
Mm.
I know, right? You better join the Reverend with me.
Okay.
But so then until next time, we just want to tell you, we want to wish that you take care of yourself, and remember, real connection starts with being real.
Amen.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.